Welcome to my quarter one journal and planner review. At the beginning of the year, I would have started with exactly two planners, which is the Hobonichi Cousin and a week's planner, which is a Amazon dupe planner. So that is what I started off with. But as the year progressed, I added on one journal or planner or book to my lineup, which is a Commonplace Book. So, firstly, I will speak about my cousin and then get into my other two books. So, firstly, the cousin is a perfect catch all, in my opinion, for people who do not have a rigorous schedule or a change in schedule. For me, this is perfect. So, I use this mainly to track mood, track my schedule, and track my daily life or memory keeping. So I don't, as I said, I don't really have a regular schedule. So this is mainly used to track things in my personal life. I have a specific, planner for work that I will not be sharing online, but for me, this planner is perfect in tracking my certain things. So, for example, I use these pages to track my mood. So, as you can see, these pages, I use different shapes according to the month to track how I was feeling. And I believe that this worked well for me, and it's something that I would like to continue going forward for the rest of the year. In 2026, I think I may consider tracking other things that I am using my weeks currently to track, like meals or habits, because I believe that there's enough space here for me to track that and use another part in the cousin to track mood. So for now, it's gonna be a mood tracker for the rest of the year. Maybe I'll do it until the end of June and then switch over to habit tracking at the end of June, but we will see. But for now, that's working for me. For my monthly pages, I love to over decorate or use a lot of decoration. So this has been working for me, and I don't think I'm gonna change this. What I've been doing is tracking different events and different dates to remember, so that if I need to remember anything quickly, I could go back to this page and see everything at once. So I kept the same style throughout January, February, and March, and also April. I kind of pre-planned April, and I'm gonna continue to do it going forward into the next quarter. Of the four pages that I showed you, this one is my favorite. Valentine's Day was the main inspiration behind this post, and I believe that I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna pick the major events of each month and try and stick to that. For March, it was me eating healthy, and then April, I'll be going on a trip, so that's the inspiration behind this particular spread. So going forward, I'm gonna keep doing that, log in every important date and thing I have to remember. The only thing that I don't pre-plan or don't write down before when I'm planning the month out is work, because sometimes you might take a day off and it might be as a result of illness, and that's not something that you could plan. So that's what I usually leave out. So moving forward to weeklies, and I think that weeklies are the ones that I struggle with the most, because I believe that there's a lot of redundancy when it comes to weeklies and dailies and monthlies, and I know a lot of people use or they write down the same things on each part, so that depending on what level of time they have, that they could go through the list and look at what they did or what they have to do, or they just need to glance it, or what they put it on all three so that it's easier to stick in their head. And I agree with that, but sometimes I believe that I am over planning or it's a bit redundant. So for December and January, straight down to March, it's me trying to figure out what works for me. Usually, what I did was that I tracked my events, which is what I also did in weekly, but it was a little bit more broken down. Initially, I wanted to put the highlights of each day so that I would know exactly what happened or what was the high or the low of that day. And I liked that. It worked for me at the beginning. So from going into February, it's something that I continue. The highlight at the bottom of the page. That was working for me. And then I changed it from highlight to reflection, reflecting on the day and what happened. So I changed the word from highlight to reflection, but it was basically the same thing that I did. And then I decided to take it out altogether to see if that worked, because I was already reflecting on the daily page and I didn't want to do it twice, so I took it out going forward. And then I kept this daily schedule more minimal, just the important things. But I was also sick, as I said, so I didn't really get to do much things in March, so most of it is just home, recovering. So going at the end of March, same thing, still sick, going to work, trying to see, not really much going on because I was resting a lot. So I kept that straight down to the end of March. For April, what I want to do is I want to use that section at the bottom that I previously used for highlights. I want to use it as my meal tracker. So I'm just gonna try it for April, and then at the end of April I will decide if I want to continue doing it in the weeks. But for now, I'm keeping it in the weekly pages. So this is my setup for April thus far. What I usually do, I'll do an initial decoration, but as things happen, I will include different stickers or ephemera depending on what went on. So that's the end of my weekly pages. Now I'm going to do a quick flip through of my turning the page to a new year and also my daily pages. So I don't think there's anything that I want to change with my daily pages. It really depends on how I'm feeling on that day. There's no fixed format that I'm going to stick to. It will change, and that's how I want to do it. How I feel, I might put a to-do list, I might put a packing list, I might not do that. I may just write, I may do minimal decoration or a lot of decoration. It really depends on the mood, of my mood. What I want to continue doing is continue to include this basically daily page, month at a glance, a collage. That's something that I really enjoy doing at the end of the month. So I do this at the end, print everything, stick everything, and then before going into the daily pages, I could already remember what happened during the month, and then I could get into reading them at the end. So I started off thinking I wanted to be minimal, as I said. That it really depends on my mood. I really thought I would be a minimal girl, but I quickly realized that some days I just feel to decorate a lot. It really depends. So January, I kind of got into the groove of the daily pages more than anything. So I like using a lot of color, and sometimes when I kept journals previously, I would do a lot of, not a lot, but some drawing in between, and I want to keep that as well. If I feel to draw, I will include a drawing. Or if I don't, I don't. So I think that doing these daily pages are my favorite of all. More than the weekly pages, more than the monthly pages, my daily pages are my favorite. This is something that I also do at the end of January, or at the end of each month. I will do a monthly review. I'll use my Cricut printer, cut out some lettering, as opposed to using stickers and then write about what happened that month. And then again, we continue with February, include a collage of February, and then we get into February. So February, I had a lot of fun changing different colors. I realized that I like pink and red and purple. These are the colors that I look for the most. However, I decided that February would be heavily centered around Valentine's Day and love, self-love, and that's why most of the pages use those colors. I'm trying to find my groove when it comes to pens. I don't quite know which one is the one for me, and that's why you see different type of nibs, fine point, medium point, different colors, whatever works for me. That's what I'm gonna use. But I really want to get into fountain pens. I already purchased one, probably do a review on it, but I purchased this generic. There's no brand or anything. It was just in a cup in a stationery store locally, and I got it, and it works really well. The only thing is that the cartridges that I have don't fit it, so I have to do some finessing for it to work. Sometimes I might use a ballpoint pen, sometimes I may use a Muji pen 0.5. I love this pen, but I don't know anyone who's going away from Trinidad and coming back, and I don't want to purchase anything online because I already made purchases for the year. But if I could get a pack of this, it would be the perfect thing. This works really well with Hobonichi specifically. So a lot of different. So we're still in February, so you're still seeing the motif with hearts and girliness, and then things change quickly from being happy and celebrating Valentine's Day to things being anxious and worrying about different things. So that was February, basically. A lot of ups and downs when it comes to mood. So hence a lot of writing. So this is February recap, and then we go into March. As I said, I was sick for most of it. So some pages are very minimal when it comes to writing, and I'll show you an example of that. So carnival post, and what I did too is that I included a lot of big pictures because I didn't have much to write about because I was recovering. This is an example of a page where I really did not have a lot to write about. So I stuck a lot of big pictures and wrote what I did today: sleep, eat, recover. I really didn't do much, didn't have much to write about, but I don't like to keep pages blank. Another day where the mood was low. She says, I'm too smart and sensitive to live in a world like ours. So this is when I was really not feeling well, but again, I don't leave blank pages if I really try. But then you could see when I started to get back into it and I started to write more things, and there was a lot more going on because I was doing a lot more than just writing and eating and sleeping and resting. This is one of my favorite pages when it comes to the color scheme, and I use one of those sticker books from Michael's, and I really, really like it. I could probably reach for it right now and just flip through it and show you all, but I got most of the stickers from this book. So most of the stickers in the book is that color scheme, and it was perfect. So coming down to the end of March, I'm using a lot of flowers and nature scenes because in other countries it's spring. In the Caribbean it's always spring and summer, but I still wanted to use that theme. So that is the end of April. So that was it for my cousin, and I'm going into my weeks. But I have a love-hate relationship with this book because I don't think I need it, but because I have already done so much in it, I don't think I'm gonna give it up until the end of the year. But next thing I may change my mind at the end of the year. So I started to track spending, and that was very difficult for me to do because of using cash, and then cards, it's very hard. So I tried to do it on a monthly basis, and then I was like, not doing it. And I switched to tracking steps, and then I was like, no. Then what am I saying? I did stick to steps. This was easier to track here because it synced to my smartwatch, and I would have just write it down at the end of the day. And I did that for parts of March, but when I was sick, I did not exercise. I didn't have much steps to record, so I didn't log anything. But there's a change because of my cousin. I'm going to do meal tracking. I'm going to try to start back doing spending tracking on this monthly page. And then because I'm taking out meal tracking and doing spending here for my daily pages, or my weekly pages, it's going to change. So initially I did meals here with habits, unexpected or planned events, and a reflection. So that was working for me for a couple of weeks. It worked here, it worked here, it worked here, it worked. All of these times it worked. It really did work. But because I began to think that I don't need this book because there's enough space to do it in the cousin, I decided, so I did it all through March, but I decided I'm going to try to wean myself off of it at the end of the year. So also in this book, I don't leave empty spaces. If I didn't track something, I need to tell myself this happened and why I didn't do it. Right? Even some of these pages, I don't particularly like how they look, but I did not want to leave the pages blank. So this is when you could see that I really got back into planning and tracking. This is a major change that I did. I took out the meal planning, and I'm only going to track steps here, and then I'm going to track habits and do the reflection. So meals are in the cousin, but everything else is still here. So we'll see how that works, and if I like it for April, I'm going to try it for a couple of weeks and then see how it goes. So that is my weeks. And then the last book that I have in my lineup is a Commonplace planner. So this is not any particular special brand or anything. It was $20, which is about $3 or $2 US. I bought it in a convenience store. For Trinidadians, they would know about Fair and Square. It should want us. I got this book. So because of the price, because it was so cheap, I was concerned about the quality, but the pages are thick and fountain pen does not go through it. So I really like it, and I really wanted a great notebook. So I did a lot of research on YouTube and Reddit and TikTok about commonplacing. And generally I would include different quotes and recipes in my cousin, but for me it might be harder for me to go back and find something like a recipe in this book than it would in a book like a Commonplace Book. Because for example, I'm looking for a recipe here and I have to go through so many pages to find it. I can't even remember which month I did it or what. But in this book, using the index and content page, or what's another? Yeah, an index. Using an index is going to help me to be able to find things quicker in this book, I believe. So my categories are quotes, poems, scriptures, language learning, self-development, health, interesting facts, life lessons, recipes. So in quotes, what I may include here is songs or lyrics. So I should include it one time. Lyrics. I'm going to include lyrics here, and also language learning. I'm going to attempt to learn some basic Korean and Japanese. Self-development and health. So self-development would more be towards notes related to my job. So I work with children, so notes on autism or ADHD, anything that helps me to help them That's what I'm going to try to document here. And then health, any tips, benefits of different things. Like for example, today I was reading the benefits of ginger, so that's something I want to include there. Interesting facts, life lessons, and recipes. So I have not done a lot in this book, and now started it. And this is what I've done so far. So I started to read Atomic Habits. So I'm including that here. I had these notes in my notes app on my phone, and I took it out. Or I decided to write it down, because if I'm coming in this book every week, it's easier for me to see the information than in my notes app, where I have to scroll through a whole set of notes to find it. So next thing I did, Korean greetings and the Korean alphabet. So I wrote out these things: Korean consonants, Korean vowels. And then the last thing that I did so far is a Chinese proverb. What I'm going to include in this book, I'm going to include stickers, but I don't think it's going to be as much as I did in the cousin. And at the end, so if I wrote about 4 entries in a particular day, I'm going to include the date at the end of the 4 entries, as opposed to writing it in with each entry. Also, because of the column, I'm going to, depending on the topic, I'm going to put my own reflections underneath here briefly. For these topics, I don't think I need to, but some topics I may want to. Or for example, you write down a recipe and you try it another time. So first time you try it, you write down the recipe, but then the second time you make it, you want to make a little tweak. I might put that tweak in the column. So far, that's what's working for me. I just noticed that there's a space to write the date at the top, but I'm not going to use that. So far, in Q1, I believe that these 3 books are working for me, even though, as I said, I may, by the end of the year, wean out the weeks and just keep these 2 books. But for now, I am having fun planning in my 3 journals, and I look forward to sharing more information about my journals with you all in the future. One thing to end, I want to add something that new that I started to do. I started to take all of my stickers. I want to, at the end of the year, I want to start using my stickers and not buying. So what I bought was a sticker use book on Amazon, and I started to include all of my stickers, or my collection of stickers. I believe that it's easier when you could see all of them like this to use them up. So far I have about 3 books and that's to tell you how many stickers I have to use. I have 3 of these books that are filled that I have to use. So there's a lot of stickers that I bought on trips, or that I bought locally that I have to use. And I believe that this is something, or this is a good storage tip that I'm going to keep going forward into the other quarters. So I don't think that I need to buy any more stationery or journals, because I am stocked for the year. But I believe that these practices are going to help me, or the storage practice and organization will help me when it comes to journaling and being creative. And I hope that it's something, actually I don't think it's going to be a problem for me to stick to this particular thing, because I enjoy it and I have so much fun, and I have so much fun sharing my creative outlets with you all. Well, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all in my next video, possibly at the end of April. Thank you.